A very warm evening to one and all present here. Today, we're going to talk about starting up the entrepreneurship journey. It's rightly said, it's not about ideas, it's about making ideas happen. For today, it's February 27th, we have a free webinar talking about Mentor Mitra. Mentor Mitra is a mentoring organization where we meet individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them reach where they aspire to be. There are various courses and programs with us for the same. These are the steps to avail e-certificate. A. Attend the complete webinar. B. When you see thank you on the screen, develop a link to a Google attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback questionnaire emailed. C. Fill the questionnaire you get on mail for your details. D. Follow our page. Whether you did or not is also in the questionnaire. If you did and replied in affirmative and actually did not follow our page, you will not get the e-certificate. If all above stated steps are followed, automatically an e-certificate will be issued online to you. Welcoming our first speaker for the day, Mr. Uday. Mr. Uday is currently an entrepreneur who is the co-founder of a successful startup, BFAT Forex Private Limited. He has patents and deals in products making people's life better. His enterprise value is worth rupees 30 crores. Mr. Uday has won the prestigious EII Award for Product Innovation as well as the Coca-Cola Sustainable Enterprise Award. Uday is an engineer, MBA, and has spent about 20 plus years in the corporate sector, working for organizations like GE, Tata Motors, amongst many others. We welcome you, Uday, sir.
Thank you so much, the whole team of Mentor Myth. Thank you so much. Yeah, great. So I'm happy to start. I presume you're able to listen to me very clearly. Is this fine?
Yes, sir. The volume is good.
Okay, that's great. So thanks for the introduction. And a very interesting topic I have been requested to talk on, and that is primarily on my entrepreneurship journey. And while I speak on this particular topic, all the audience who are there on this particular Zoom channel or on YouTube channel, I would request you to please asking any questions that you have in your mind. And the moderators will look at that question and prompt me on answering that. So please feel free to keep asking any questions that you have in your mind. So that way we can make it pretty interactive also. One quick question, if everyone would have, is what is entrepreneurship and what is the difference between a business and an entrepreneurship? So typically, if you look at the English definition of the word entrepreneurship, it primarily means that an entrepreneur is someone who is trying to do something new. So that is primarily the definition of an entrepreneur. And people also, those who are trying to think of starting something on their own, also have a question as to what's the difference between a regular business, opening a kirana shop or running their family business, versus entrepreneurship. These are some of the very fundamental basic questions that people do get every now and then. So one of the basic difference is when you are running a family business and you just take the place of your father, probably you're taking the role of doing a business. That is, your father did that business, you're just continuing with that particular business. So there's nothing new in that business. It's already established. It already has some customers. It already has some business model. And it has already some profit and loss, which has been working for ages. However, when you start as an entrepreneur, you are trying to do something new, which is not existing in the market. You're trying to build a process or a product which is new, which the market requires. So the primary difference between a regular business and entrepreneurship is businesses are something which are already established in the market. Entrepreneurship is something that you're trying to do new. Now, obviously, when it comes to business and a business, the risks are less because it's already established. However, the risk is very high when it comes to entrepreneurship because you're trying to do something new. It may work or it may not work. So the risks are very high, the stakes are very high. And obviously, whenever you have high risk, the possible outcome is also high returns. So that's very much possible in entrepreneurship. One third question that people do ask is, should I become an entrepreneur or not? And how do you decide whether you want to become an entrepreneur or not? Uh, it depends on your personality style. It depends on your vision. It depends on your aspirations. Okay, there is no need or there is no mandate from the society that everyone should become an entrepreneur. It looks fancy title, but the journey is not. Okay, so I would suggest that you should check out with your mentors, with your parents, with your bosses or your managers, whether you are set to become an entrepreneur. It requires, as I told you, it requires a lot of painstaking time and dedication to become an entrepreneur. If you are set up to take up a job in any company or a corporate, there's nothing wrong in that. It gives steady incomes. If your personality suits taking up a simple job, doing it regularly and dedicatedly, there's nothing wrong in that. So both the worlds of just doing a simple job or doing an entrepreneurship, both are equally good. There is no difference between, you should not create any kind of an mental block thinking that jobs are bad or entrepreneurship is risky. Both are having their own pros and cons. What you should do is you should identify your personality, your aspirations, and based on your personality and aspirations, decide whether you want to take entrepreneurship or take up a very steady job in any corporate. So this is very, very important before you really want to jump onto the entrepreneurship ship. If you think about what really makes a good entrepreneur, as we spoke about in the previous third point, we spoke about difference between entrepreneurship and not doing an entrepreneurship, right? So now just going a little step deeper as to what does make a person a good entrepreneur. One, they are rogue thinkers. When I say the word rogue, they're actually thinking wild. They're actually thinking possibilities. They're actually thinking can-do attitude point of view. They are actually thinking possibilities. They are thinking is a little rogue from the standard people. Generally, people have got accustomed to an XY way of thinking, but this guy says, why can't it be done better? Why can't it be done faster? Why can't it be done differently? Why can't it be done more easily? This, I would define them as rogue thinkers. Possibly sometime later, I should write a book with a title like Rogue Thinkers. Probably it will sell good. So that's a good catchy word, but that's what I mean. They are rogue thinkers. And as I said, they always look at possibilities. They always have a to-do attitude. Let me try it. They do not know the outcomes. They always believe in, let me try it. Let me see what happens. They are not making any predictions about the outcomes, but they try to put a plan together. They try to execute it, and then they see what the outcomes are. So they are always looking for experimentations. I think the word experimentations is kind of built into their mind, into their body, into their blood. So they want to do experimentations with their customers, with their products, with their process. So everywhere they're trying to experiment different things and like seeing what kind of outcomes are coming with this changed and better processes. So they are constantly keeping on upgrading themselves. Probably if you see a business, a regular business, you will not see much changes in them, right? If a kirana shop guy is running his shop, you will probably see no change for the next 10 years or so, right? But whereas if you are looking for a person who has tried to do something different, like Paytm is an entrepreneurial company, right? So if you see Paytm has been constantly evolving. Today, they are a payment gateway. Probably over a period of time, they could become a bank. right? So similarly, all large companies like iPhone has been an entrepreneurial company. So they keep changing their models, they keep on upgrading it, they are in touch with their customers. They always try to bring out something better in the product or service. Very important thing about social entrepreneurship is it has, as I told you, it has its pluses and minuses. So if you are young, if you have a lot of attachment to the car that you own, the dress you wear, what people say, if you have a lot of importance to these things, if you have a lot of importance to failure, if you feel that if I fail, what will my friends say, what will my parents tell, uh, I think then entrepreneurship is not yours. I'm very clearly telling it black and white. You got to be strong at your heart, because when you are taking up any entrepreneur initiative, don't take it as a fancy. You may or may not make money out of that. You may go through some troubled times. At point like this, are you okay if your parents tell that you are doing stupid stuff, you are stupid? This kind of taunts will come from the society. Are you okay to take that in a positive sense? Are you okay mentally and emotionally strong enough to take that on yourself? If you are not, don't take it. Take a simple job. You can live happily. You can go to clubs and pubs and enjoy it nicely. There's nothing wrong, as I tell you, between doing business, doing a job and entrepreneurship. If you are strong-hearted, strong-minded, having guts to do something better and newer, then go for entrepreneurship. Think wild. It is possible. But yes, the journey is not simple, straightforward. It will have its own ups and downs. What are the other things of an entrepreneur? Typically, they are visionaries. They are not thinking the present, they are thinking the future. What can I do today that I can change the future of tomorrow? They are always thinking, how can I better a current process? How can I improve? How can I create a website? Suppose if there are people who are looking for pet food, they don't find in a city like Agra. I'm just taking an example. If there is a person in Agra who knows that there is a people who are having a lot of pets in Agra, but they don't have enough shops. So can you think of putting a website there in place for pet food and that deliver it within Agra? So he is a visionary. He is trying to solve a problem. He is trying to see a better thing, doing something better for his customers. So they are always visionaries. The vision could be small or big, doesn't matter, but he's always looking for possibilities. He's always looking for making things simple for his customers, and they are visionaries. They are trying to create a new process. They are very much a team player. Even the hardest of the people who are entrepreneurs always try and believe in their team. They individually can't really make it very big. They know that they require support and help of other team players, and they understand people's strengths and weaknesses. So that's a very important aspect of an entrepreneur. If you are a good cricket player, you got to work with other 10 players, right? So if you are a good cricket captain, you got to know how to work with the other 10 players. So you can't tell that, I am a good batsman, my other team people are not good. No, that's not how a cricket team wins. Similarly, in entrepreneurship, you have to win with a team. You can run a single business like a kirana shop. A one-man shop man can run a kirana shop. But if you want to build a large company, you require teams. And when it requires teams, you need to understand people's strengths. You need to understand people's behaviors. And you need to understand how to match their strengths with the skills that the company requires. So this is a very important element when it comes to building a very good entrepreneurial company. Next point, before that, can you just go to the previous slide? They are continuous learners. If you see most of the entrepreneurs, they are constantly upgrading the knowledge that they require to build an entrepreneur, right? Entrepreneurship. They are constantly upgrading themselves. They're reading books, the relevant books. They are seeing probably movies also, but relevant movies. They are reading articles in newspapers, again, relevant articles to entrepreneurship. So they are probably seeing YouTube, and they're seeing everything else that is available in the net and social media, but they're also always spending more time in reading the relevant things in entrepreneurship. They are continuous learners. That's how they actually upgrade themselves, and that's how their companies or organizations grow. They are also very good communicators. It's very important for an entrepreneur to really communicate their vision to their team, their vision to the customers, and then develop that company into a solid company. Great communication is required. Your goals should be clearly communicated to them. Your expectations should be communicated very clearly to them. And that's how, when you have great communications, great companies are built. So that's a very important aspect of being a good entrepreneur. Yeah. Now, coming to a simple toolkit, those who are interested to become an entrepreneur, they will obviously look for solution. How do I go ahead with, right? In the first slide, we probably covered what's the difference between a business and an entrepreneurship. Second slide, we covered about what are the characteristics of a good entrepreneurship. Assuming that now, yes, he is ready to step into becoming an entrepreneur, he requires some toolkits. Now, some of the basic toolkits that I have presented here or going to speak here is first simplest of the toolkit is a problem solution template. What does this problem solution template means? An entrepreneur is constantly searching for problems in the society or problems in any organization. So if there is a problem, if he is able to identify a problem, that is 50% of the work done. Once he identifies the problems with the society or the company that he works in, or he is trying to build a B2B solution, so any company that he is working with, if he is able to identify the problem, 50% of the work is done with. From there, once the problem is set up in place, he should start identifying what are the possible solutions. So there could be many examples like this, right? So if you just to give a very simplest of the examples, we will see a lot of kachra around our cities, right? That itself is a problem, correct? So if anyone can think there is a problem, the kachra or the garbage really smells, it stinks. What is the easiest method to remove that from the roads or remove it from the apartments? So he should start thinking from a solution perspective. So that's all is required to really become an entrepreneur, nothing more than that. Look out for a problem in and around you, and then you find out a solution. Search the internet, contact people, go to colleges, go to academics, professors, go to mentors. You'll find a solution, try the solution. That is what is called as proof of concept. And once the proof of concept is done, then you can really change it into a proper business. So that is how you do. It's very simple. It's no rocket science. You just have to identify the problem in front of you, and for that problem, identify the solution. That's what entrepreneurship is all about. I'll just take a little bit further on what is a business canvas. Just you can go, what's a business canvas template? That's actually a breakup of the problem solution template. Yeah, if you can just go to the business canvas template. Can you put up that? Yeah, absolutely. That's right. That's right. So this is called the business model canvas. So for those who are really interested to get further deeper into business building and entrepreneurship, this is called as a business model canvas. You'll find this in internet, in Google. You can just look at this. You just enter business model canvas in Google and you will get this template. Very easy to get this. Now this template kind of explains all the aspects of building a entrepreneurial company. Now, the number one concept issue that you have to address, or the number one, once you identified the problem, you have to look at what are the value proposition that you're bringing to the customer. If you're able to see in the center, there is something called as value proposition. So there are certain pointers here. What is the value that you're creating for your customers? That you have to be very, very clear. Okay, so that we talked about that waste disposal. So today the customers in a particular apartment might be finding it difficult to dispose of waste if the person kachrawala doesn't come to a house. So you say that you'll put up a waste disposal machine right at the ground floor of the apartment. So your value proposition: waste is decomposed and created into organic stuff that can be used for plants. So that is a value proposition. I'm just creating an example. So that's a value proposition that you're creating. So every time you need to be very, very clear of what is your value proposition for your customer. After having done that, the second thing that you need to spend some time is understanding how you're going to build customer relationships. So in that case that we talked about, disposing of kachra, who are your customers, your apartment people? How are you going to build the relationship with them? Are you going to have a software that will talk with all of these people? Are you going to have an email communication or a WhatsApp communication with them as to how are you going to dispose this kachra on a daily basis? And are you going to, so the communication with them. Similarly, what are the channels of communication? I talked about the channels could be either you can have WhatsApp or any of these kind of channels of communication, or the channels will also elaborate into things like how are you going to collect it? How are you going to dispose it? Are there going to be people who are going to collect this and dispose it off? Or there are going to be mini trucks or mini tempos? How are you going to collect it and how are you going to dispose it is the channels. Now, what customers are you going to also focus on? So customer segment is primarily, are you going to focus only on apartments or even on hotels? Or are you going to focus even on individual houses? So you have to be very clear. No, I'm not going to focus on hotels because the hotel industry is very different. The wastage that comes from hotel is very different. I can't manage it. The technology required for that is different. So I'm going to focus only on apartments. So that is customer segmentation. So this is on the right side of the value creation. And if you just look at the left side of the value proposition, you'll think like, who are my key partners? So in this case, the partners could be the boys, the street boys. You got to have some engagement with them. You got to have some connection with the association of auto or tempo people who drive these tempos. What are the key activities? So some of the activities are collecting the kachra, disposing it, processing it, and using it as a manure. So, and what are the key resources? Now, key resources are you require people who understand the equipment, people who understand supply chain, people who understand driving of a vehicle. I'm giving the simplest of the example. Obviously, this can be extrapolated to any level of complexity. I'm just saying the simplest of the example to show that. Now, what are the key resources? Key resources is someone who has, what is the key resource in this? Someone who really knows how to run that machine of changing the kachra from kachra to an organic manure, right? So people who understand this, maybe he's a BSc agriculture student who understands what is microorganisms, macroorganisms, disposition, how to dispose it off. So that kind of people are the key resources. Now, once you're putting your people, machine, supply chain, and all that, there will be a cost structure. So what is your cost of conversion from kachra to a manure? So there is a cost. So maybe your cost is say 1 rupee per kg of conversion. So that is your cost structure. You need to understand your cost structure based on the money you're spending on people, equipment, and process, and rents, and electricity, and all that. Similarly, then what is your revenue? So what is the revenue, and where are you going to collect the revenue from? Are your customers going to give the revenue, or is it any other source of collecting that revenue? Will you sell the manure and collect the revenue, or your customers who are giving you the kachra, are you going to collect 10 rupees or 50 rupees or 100 rupees per month from them? So you need to have this business model canvas in one place. Once you put this blueprint in place, then I would say you should jump into actually doing the business, running what we call as a proof of concept. You should do it in a very small way. Just attack one apartment, two apartment, run it or what we call as a proof of concept. Ensure that all these are in place before you scale it up. So scaling is then nothing but once a proof of concept is in place, you know you are making profit, you know how to acquire customers, you know who are your key resources. Then you start scaling it up. Then you move from Delhi, you start doing it all across Delhi or probably all across Bombay, and then you spread it to 5 cities, then 40 cities, then 100 cities. That's how you build an entrepreneurship. That's how Ola has developed. That's how Uber has become an worldwide enterprise today. So that's how you start small and then you scale it up to a large level. So with this, I will end it, but I will leave one last point to everybody to know that entrepreneurship is a roller coaster ride. So if you really love it, it's absolutely fun. It's absolutely a super duper thing to happen. And I really wish those who want to become an entrepreneur, do study, do get your problem statement correct, do find solutions. And very important thing, do find mentors. So if you feel I need some mentors, I think you'll find that there are large bodies, in entrepreneurship bodies where you can find mentors. You can find it in Mentor Myth. You can also find mentors in your own society or someone who's already been an entrepreneur. So there are many such options to get mentors. So with that, I would leave my session here. And if there's any questions, if you can ask, them, I'll be happy to address.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. We would like to hear you back during the question and answer session. Talking more about Mentor Mitro's courses, there are programs for working professionals, programs for school students, as well as university students with a duration of 1 month, 3 months, and 12 months, respectively. Talking more about programs for working professionals, we have a Compass Pro course for 1 month of engagement. The aim is to help you set the right directions and correct your ongoing journey. There is time tracker, our chatbot special support facility, more features like free access to webinar during the month, customized template for your career roadmap, analytical report based on SWOT analysis, and AI-based personality assessment. Programs for university students include Compass course for direction setting, 1 month of engagement, which has time tracker, tracks and options, template, our support features like 24/7 chatbot access, more features like 1 month free webinars. Programs for school students include Compass course for direction setting, 1 month of engagement, which has structured customized counseling one-to-one, counseling sessions, psychometric assessment, competitive ability, and environment mapping, and also flexible counseling sessions with mentor for total 2 hours of time.